And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the lineup for Gilas Pilipinas!
Okay, sa wakas, Philippines versus Saudi. Makakabawi na siguro tayo dito, no? Okay, gang, start na yung game. Calvin Oftano, okay, solid. Scotty Thompson, Jordan Clarkson, shit, lakas talaga ng team natin. Sobrang lakas. Okay, Dwight Ramos. Nice. Japet Aguilar, sayang dress niya, no? Okay lang. Mabawi tayo. This is our home. Talaga. Okay.
Chot Reyes!
Teka lang. Bakit? Puro boost. Bakit si Chot Reyes tumating sa point na from being the coach in 2014 na sobrang binibigyan ng praise dahil dun sa accomplishment na nagawa niya sa Korea, biglang ganito, binubunas sa sarili niyang bayan, sa sarili niyang home floor. So upon checking Wikipedia, Chot Reyes on paper is an accomplished coach, a 9-time PBA champion and a 6-time PBA Coach of the Year. Stacked credentials, diba? Like at least for our standard. Pero bakit siya ang public enemy number 1 ngayon? Well, we have to go back all the way to 2014 to see the full story on how the relationship of Chot Reyes deteriorated with the Gilas Pilipinas fans. Leading up to the 2014 FIBA World Cup, the Philippines as a whole were ecstatic that we finally made it back to the main stage for basketball since 1978. The win against South Korea in our home floor was truly, I think, one of the most memorable things I've ever watched. Naalala ko pa lahat ng stops and breaks na kailangan natin para lang makalayo sa game. Tapos agad-agad nag-sink in sa akin na Philippine basketball did belong in the world stage. At the center of all of that is Chot Reyes. To be fair kay Coach, the dribble drive offense really worked during that time. He had the intelligent, quick, and all-around guards in L.A. Tenorio and Jason Castro in order for the system to be at full capacity. And let's not forget Jimmy Alapag. Di ba? Pwede naman tayo gumawa ng more detailed video regarding the dribble drive offense, but basically, just for the sake of this video, ito ay isang sistema kung saan the main duty ng mga gwardya ay sumalaksak at mag-draw ng attention sa mga defenders. Once the guard is able to suck in or at least get the attention from the defenders, especially yung mga nasa wing, then they can kick this out to the 3-point shooters that are waiting in the wing. This is the simplest way I can think of when it comes to explaining the dribble drive, but the offense is a bit more complex than we all think. But the point is, yung team nung time na yun had enough time to gel. At yun yung magiging theme ng video na to, na uulit-ulitin ko, which is preparation. Now let's give credit to where credit is due. That Gilas team back in 2014 had enough time to prepare. For our standards, no? Ngayon kasi 2 weeks lang practice maximum, kaya yun medyo nakakalungkot. Anyway, sinasabi ko yan kasi nung panahon na yun, as early as July 2013, which is a year from nung FIBA World Cup, ito na team na nakikita nyo sa screen were already practicing and working together. There was continuity and familiarity sa system, which is yung dribble drive. So ito, check nito 2013 FIBA Asia Championship roster at 2014 FIBA World Cup team. Sino nag-iba? Practically halos wala. Except Andre Blatch replacing Kuya Marcos Dautin, diba? Now, before the World Cup even started, hindi alam ng karamihan na nagkaroon tayo ng training camp sa Antibes, Miami, and Spain. In these pocket tournaments, the national team were able to work on their chemistry, paulit-ulit ko sasabihin to, and mastery of the system by facing against first a Miami Pro-Am selection team and the Elevate Sports Institute, wherein we won both games. Next up is yung Antibes International Tournament. Although, ito medyo madugo yung results. But we can chalk that up to learning experience. Anyway, una natin kinalaban France kung saan talo lang tayo ng 7 points, 75-68. Pwede na. Next is against Australia. Natalo rin tayo ng 97-75. And lastly sa Ukraine, sobrang tinambak tayo ng 114-64. Although yung game sa Ukraine, I think wala si Blatch tapos si Doughtit yung naging replacement. Anyway, yun. Lastly yung training camp sa Spain kung saan natalo natin yung Liga ACB selection team nila, 89-59. Natalo tayo sa Basque Country, which I have no idea sino magaling doon, pero yung score is 75-66 in favor of Basque Country. While we ended the training camp against Angola, Egypt, and Dominican Republic. Now, it doesn't matter kung natambak tayo or nanalo tayo against these international teams. Yung point ng training camp is to get better and be familiarized with one another. Diba? Kasi mostly dito, yung mga stars na sa team na yun were stars in their own right, diba? So they all had to follow a system wherein they need to work together. Now, when it came to the actual World Cup games, nakipagsabayan talaga tayo. First up was Croatia, which was the 10th ranked country in the world at the time. Nag-jump forward na tayo. So ito na. Tayo number 31 sa world. Even the most diehard fans had to temper expectations on what the possible score might look like. But from tip-off, nakita talaga natin that the boys were here to play, to compete, and to win the whole thing. We were making timely cuts, timely passes, and everybody was moving like a well-oiled machine. Natalo tayo 81-78, but the message was loud and clear. Hindi lang tayo saling pusa. Kung gusto nyo manalo sa Pilipinas, make sure na dalan yung A-game nyo. Mas nakaka-proud sabihin yun, no? That was 8 years ago. Sana ma-feel natin ulit yan soon. Anyway, in fact, this puso Gilas Pilipinas team was on full display sa lahat ng games na pwede natin laruin sa World Cup nung time na yun. We saw the poster dunks of Idol Gabe Norwood against Argentina. We were able to go up against the Greeks led by a young Giannis Antetokounmpo na hindi pa siya masyado ginagamit ng coach niya. Almost squeaked out the game against Ronaldo Balkman and Puerto Rico. And finally capping it off with a win against Senegal, which was our first win in 40 years in the big stage. Unfortunately, this was the start of the downfall of the love affair between Coach Chot Reyes and the fans of Gilas. We now jump to December 2014 wherein Tab Baldwin was named the coach for Gilas. A 4-year contract. Unlike si Coach na nagka-fallout talaga sa mga mata ng fans, si Tab was the crowd favorite. Ako rin naman, favorite ko to since nakita namin lahat what he did for Ateneo and of course the country while at the helm. Especially yung pinaka-most recent, yung sina Belanggel, sina Kai Soto against Korea. Pero dadating tayo nun. We're gonna get there. So, ito yung mga notable accomplishments na nakuha natin under Tab from 2014 to 16. And the reason na sinabi ko lang 2014 to 16 is because there are a lot of changes that went on from 2016 to 2022. Magulo programa natin na nakikita nyo first hand. Bakit maraming naiinis? Anyway, 2014 William Jones Cup silver medalist. 2015 FIBA Asia Championship, we were silver here. Ito yung nakalaban natin in China on a very controversial final, and a 2016 Siaba Cup gold. Easy, di ba? Now, bakit parang natigil considering 4 years yung binigay sa kanya na kontrata? Well, as early as 2016, nagkakaproblema na sa schedule ng mga players na gusto ni Tab from the PBA. Tapos yung SBP not exactly doing his job in assisting its coaching staff. October 2016, bumalik na naman si Coach Chot Reyes, and to his credit, unexpectedly, delivered on sweeping the 2017 Siaba Championship. Na-sweep niya yung group stage sa 2017 FIBA Asia Cup but didn't do well after that. Actually, at this time in 2016, this was a whole new Gilas team that we're talking about. Na dun pa rin naman yung mga ibang mainstays like Signa Castro, Norwood, Japet, and Junmar, but that's it. Yun yung natira sa 2014 team. In comes the likes of Matthew Wright, Terence Romeo, Carl Cruz, si Pogoy, si Almazan, si Abueva, si Gio Halalon, si Stan Hardinger. Etong cycle of constantly changing a big chunk of the roster is something na hindi na talaga naayos ng SBP. Wala tayong consistent group of players that are always willing to play for the flag. We now jump to 2018. Si Chot Reyes pa rin yung coach nung time na to and did his homework against Japan and Chinese Taipei kung saan nanalo tayo. But July 18 was when shit really hit the fan. Ito yung infamous game natin against Australia which got international attention. Dahil nakipag-boxing halos lahat ng players. May mga flying kick, flying chairs, lahat. Dahil sa nangyari na to, suspensions were given to both players and coaches. Chot was also suspended since I think he didn't exactly stop his players from rushing to the court. Hence, na-consider siya as being involved in the brawl. Anyway, habang suspended si Coach Chot, si Yang Giao took on the reins for the team, and quite frankly, hindi naging maganda performance natin sa 2019 FIBA World Cup. Although yung hate for Coach Yang Giao is not as much as Coach Chot, pero sometimes talaga, makita nyo rin later. The country tallied a record of 0-5. So 5 na yun, 4 ang blowouts. So ito yung mga score. August 31, Italy 108, Philippines 62. September 2, Serbia 126, Philippines 67. My goodness. September 4, ito naging close to, Angola 84, Philippines 81. We're in natalo tayo sa overtime. September 6, Tunisia 86, Philippines 67. And lastly, September 8, we're in natalo tayo sa Iran 95-75. Basically, it was an embarrassing performance and full display dito yung lack of preparation, injuries, and players begging off to play. Kaya yung team na na-assemble natin ng time na yun, sobrang rushed. Diba? Sobrang half-assed. Kaya yung results natin, ass din. Anyway, punta na tayo sa 21 FIBA Asia Cup. Was when fans were treated on what real basketball looks like. A culture where passing, trusting the other man to your left and to your right became the main reasons why this basketball team led by Tab somehow defied the odds and beat a powerhouse team like Korea. Not once, but twice. Ngayon, kung bago ka lang sa basketball, isipin mo siguro na dyan sina Clarkson, Kobe Paras, Junior Fajardo, and all the PBA stars. Pero hindi. It was a roster comprised of college players and first-year pros. It was something new. In a way, na-spoil tayong fans na this is something na kaya natin gawa ng something special if nabigyan na ng time to. Anyway, check nyo tong lineup to. RJ Abarrientos, FEU. At that time, si Isaac Go, first-year pro, Terra Firma. JD Tungkab, UP. Si Kai Soto, G-League, NBA G-League ng time na yun. Mike Nieto, first-year pro, Rain or Shine. Jordan Heading, Blackwater Elite. Gio Chu, Ateneo. Will Navarro, Ateneo. Dwight Ramos, Ateneo. Ito yung before leaving for Japan, yung kay Dwight. SJ Belangel, Ateneo. Justin Baltazar, DLSU. And Ange Kwame, Ateneo. Diba? Padala tayo ng college team basically. After seeing a ragtag team like this, fans were left clamoring for more. They demanded a more consistent performance kasi kaya naman makipagsabayan if may maayos lang na system at practice. Shortly after this performance, things just went downhill from here. Parang ganun yung point ng story na pababa lang tayo ng pababa. Nag-start tayo sa high in 2014, the lows, and then a temporary high with the 2021 FIBA Asia Cup, and here, we're gonna go downhill again. So last February 2022, Tab Baldwin stepped down as the coach and immediately fans had every right to get mad at SBP. Bakit siya pinakawalan? This is the best coach we ever had. May magagawa at may chance tayo manalo kapag si Tab ang nandyan sa bench. Si Tab lang. This is a coach that genuinely cares about his players.
We did some special things and I miss them.
SBP hit the reset button and brought back Chot again in order to bring some stability to a program that has been doing well in the past year and now looking like it's back to zero. Back to square one. All while the World Cup is exactly a year from now. Na-award tayo ng rights to the World Cup to host in 2019. 2022 na ngayon. Parang back to zero na naman tayo. Medyo nakakaawa kasi medyo sobrang sama ng timing rin ng dating ni Coach Chot, no? In a way, siya yung naging ultimate scapegoat ng SBP whose entire job was to maintain the healthy relationships that they hold under their wing. Trabaho ng SBP was to manage expectations, egos, and make sure everybody's on the same page. Pero yun hindi nila magawa, di ba? Their job is to make sure that the PBA and whatever league cooperates with the ultimate goal, which is the 2023 FIBA World Cup, and make sure that we are competent to keep up with the best nations in the world. Moving on, since si Coach Chot yung nasa front lines, edi siya sumalo lahat ng blame. Some he didn't deserve, while some aspects, such as the loss to Indonesia in the 2022 Siaba a few months back, didn't sit well with the fans. Di naman talaga Kasi talo tayo, diba? This was a lineup that was supposed to be an overkill. A lineup of pros and veterans in the PBA. Ano na nakikita natin? Diba? Si Matthew Wright na nagdadala ng bola, hindi naman siya point guard. Talagang kulang na preparation. We thought that our talent was gonna bring us the gold, pero hindi. Ultimately, let's not forget as well the infamous quote wherein Coach Chot said that we do not need to win against Lebanon. So ito, a lot of bad PR moves on his part. Yes, as a coach of the national team where its fans are already over the edge when it comes to their team's performance, he could have chosen his words wisely. Pero wala na nasabi na Hindi rin nakatulong tong si SBP wherein earlier this month, they blamed Tab on why the national team is not performing to its standard. And since si Chot yung bata ng SBP, of course, naturally, it looks like sinabotage niya yung trabaho ni Tab, which is not the case. He was just the first guy SBP thought of when Tab stepped down. That's it. Kasi wala na naghahabol na tayo Diba? The best that they can do right now is to salvage what we have. Magulo, oo. Nagkakram tayo, oo. Pero, this is the best thing we have right now. So ano bang point ko? Bago matapos yung video na to, I guess the hard pill that we need to swallow is that Chot Reyes will be our coach until the Philippines concludes its hosting of the FIBA World Cup. Hindi naman natin siya magiging coach forever eh. Hindi naman si MVP Group ang magmamanage ng team natin eh. Feeling ko hanggang 2023 lang yan, and then I feel like SMC will take over. Nandiyan na nga si Al Francis Chua, diba? Anyway, that's not the point of the video. Back to my argument that Coach Chot will be our coach until the end of the World Cup. Well, bakit? Napansin siguro sa simula ng video na to na kahit hindi tayo naka-advance sa round of 16 ng 2014 Worlds, we did some damage and scared all of the teams we faced. And bakit nangyari yun? Again, ito yung paulit-ulit, no? Preparation, familiarity, and consistency. Kung nag-iba na naman tayo ng coach, that will not solve anything. Naghahabol na tayo, guys. Wala na tayong time to change, no? In a perfect world, babalik natin si Tab. Pero magulo na yung relationships ngayon eh. So, we have to stick with Chot Reyes. Yung mga players that already played under Chot will have to relearn a new system and play a new way of basketball again. Yan yung mangyayari if papalitan na naman, di ba? Nagka-cram na tayo eh. Ang magagawa na lang is use the cards that have been dealt to us. So in terms of familiarity, it looks like we already found our pool of players in Kai, JC, and Dwight forming the core 3 of the team. As long as hindi natin ma-piss off sila for whatever reason, then they will be there. Sabi rin ng SBP that the PBA and other leagues in the Philippines will adjust to the World Cup schedule next year, which will give the national team at least 3 months of practice, diba? That's good enough kaysa sa 2 weeks, diba? Last, nung 2014, 2 months lang. So, okay yung 3 months. I mean, 3 months won't solve all of our problems, but it's better than nothing. So, mga nagtatanong if may chance ka ba makapasok at least sana sa round of 16? Depende yan sa ating mga makakalaban sa group matches and of course, how well we can get our national team to prepare. The best thing we can do now is hope we learn from our past mistakes and just continue to build. Masakit makita na we really had 3 years to prepare for this pero nasayang na eh, wala na. Kaya naintindihan ko rin yung galit ng mga tao. Especially kay Chot na hindi talaga maayos yung pag-handle ng PR niya. Pero wala na, tapos na yun. So SBP has one more shot to fix things before the World Cup. And para sa ating mga fans naman, kailangan natin tanggapin na si Chot Reyes ang magiging coach natin until next year. Ayoko rin. I mean, di ba, nakita natin, expose tayo kay Tab. Siya rin yung preferred coach ko, pero wala na. Pero ito na yun. Hindi pa naman tapos lahat, so let's give him one more chance. It's the best chance we got. And gaya nga na narinig ko sa ESPN, ika nga, availability is the best ability. So thanks again for watching, guys, and finally did YouTube after a long while. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll be doing anything Gilas Philippines content, mostly doon na mag-focus. And yeah, kung may suggestions kayo, just comment. And yeah, follow me on my socials. Peace!